ask about the challenge that Tottenham face at the moment with trying to attract certain players. Because you're in the Champions League, as you've said, the last few Premier League seasons haven't been right at the top of the league. How attractive is Spurs right now from the perspective of top quality targets?
I think we are very attractive in many ways. I think Spurs is a fantastic club with a huge potential, and I think some of the boxes you need to tick is of course the stadium and the training ground and the potential. Of course, if we compete against the three teams that but clearly is ahead of us, City, Arsenal and Liverpool, unfortunately, then those three clubs are probably more attractive right now. It's not the same that we can't attract some of the players that also want to go to those players. It depends a little bit if there's a spot available for the player to play in those clubs and here, for example.
And Bournemouth earlier this season, I think it was Daniel Levy's last game at the club. He talked the other day about the most in this whole club's history of turnover of key staff, but he's the one that everyone, even outside of Spurs, outside of Tottenham, will be aware of. He's a huge figure. First of all, can you give us an idea of just what it's been like in the sort of post-Daniel Levy era, particularly when it comes into this transfer window where he had such a hands-on sort of role to play, particularly when it came to signing?
Of course, my experience is very limited, I must admit. I think, as I understood, he was the one that was signing off and negotiating the final bid, as I understood it before. He will not do that now. There'll be more down to Johan and Fabio doing that job. I think the preparation in terms of the recruitment side is we have a good recruitment side with the numbers, behind it, looking at the players and then take the right decision on that. And then it's down to Johan and Fabio to do the job with the agents and get the deals done. So I guess that's the biggest difference. Yeah.
You mentioned Fabio.
Fabio is. I think it's a little bit. Fabio is. We're paying his wage. He's working very hard. As I said, I think last time I spoke to him the day before. Not to yesterday. No, I spoke to him in the morning. Before the game. Yeah.
With Daniel, it often felt when the results were going against Spurs, he was the lightning rod, the one that the fans all sort of focused on. It feels like now he's gone, everyone can get the sort of flack, I suppose, particularly yourself as the figurehead, the manager.
I think it can only be me.
Yeah. I was going to say, is there an element of feeling like there's no sort of shield in the form of Daniel Levy now for you to sort of manager to sort of stand?
I think it's. Isn't it more or less the way it is? I was in Brentford. It was the same. It was me. It was the front of house. It was me who did all these press conferences before games, after games. Very rarely Phil Giles or Matthew said anything, for example. I think Phil only said something in the end of transfer windows, a little bit like Johan Fabio did, or Johan did. What was it? In back September, I think. So I think that's a common thing. So should it be different? Maybe. Right now it's the way it is.
I just want to ask you, I'm going to try my luck with this one because I already can sense what your answer is going to be. But you have just sold Brennan Johnson for right winger. Mohamed Kudus, we're hoping, is fit, but he's looking like he could at least miss the next game. Fans are wondering what's going on with Dejan Kulusevski. Has there been a setback with him? Can you reveal anything about when we might see him back playing? Because he's such a key player.
He's a key player, and he's been such a key player for us. So I completely agree on that, and I would love to have him back soon. Unfortunately, it was a tricky injury he got. It just take time, and they're working very hard, and he's working very hard to come back on pitch.
Elias.
Would you like some of that load you spoke about, the transfer fee with Brennan and other bits as well? Would you like some of that load taken off you from perhaps the people above you in terms of being more front-facing towards the media?
I think the biggest thing, because you can do it in many ways, I think the biggest thing, which we are, is that we're completely aligned. So the biggest thing is that, let's say, Johan, Fabio, Vina, and I are aligned. That's the biggest thing. And then we also aligned with the ownership, and that's the biggest thing. And then it's me who's answering all the questions. That's part of it, and that's the normality. Is it better that you have others also sometimes? Not others, maybe one more, a sport director or a CEO or whatever it is, to say something. Maybe, I don't know. That's I'm a little bit in doubt of. The reality is, and the norm is, that is the head coach.
Yeah, I suppose just part of the...
Yeah, it's part of the job, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So if I don't like that, then probably shouldn't have taken the job.
And Matthias Tell, obviously, got shot off within 20 seconds yesterday. That had that chance yesterday you spoke of, and bend it to the far corner sort of thing. With a lot of players around in this position, that are probably more kind of dribble oriented or creative oriented. Is it, and you've worked with players like it, I suppose Bruno's a little bit more in the sense that he likes to get shots off. Is it important to have players like that in the front line that are providing kind of a different aspect to the attacking play?
It's definitely, I think it's also an old saying that if you don't shoot, you don't score. So it's probably pretty good to have players that can get a shot off. So I get where you come from, but I also think that Matty is he's a quite versatile player. So he can play to the left, he can play 10, he can play striker. He's probably his best is some between the three roles, and he's young. So I think he's not the first time a player that where will he actually end. In the past, I worked with Ollie Watkins. He came as a winger, and I converted him to be a striker, and he's a quite successful striker. Jon Wisser came as a winger to us, and in the end, he ended as a striker. Is Matty maybe the same time, that start as a winger and end as a striker? I don't know. No matter what, I'm pretty sure he can perform in both positions.
I suppose another player that's had to play across the front line as well is Colin Moani. Obviously off the right yesterday, straight off the left, but haven't perhaps seen as much as perhaps we would have liked from him as his kind of central striker. Do we have to kind of see more of him in that position over, I suppose, a protracted period of time to really get the best and really understand what he's about?
Yeah, I think the challenge is, I think Richie have worked very hard for us during the games as a pressing player, leading the line, competing that very well. He's our top scorer, so he's a little bit the guy who have that confidence right now. Cole has scored 0 goals, unfortunately, and 0 assists. So there's also a little bit of that. I liked that Colo, he can easily play the two wingers. He's done that in the past himself, and also a little bit like a second striker-ish coming in and be closer to Richie. And I think there's a lot of good about him. I like with his abilities, the way he drives the ball, the way he got that little extra pace to go past players, and also the running behind. And maybe also just lack that little extra confidence of where the things just comes off. So I think he had 3 runs with the ball yesterday, where it's like the final touch, then you are in. Richie, if he get the ball through, is hopefully a tap in after 10 minutes, second half, then suddenly you just have that extra bit. So we lack that a little bit also from our players, that just that little boost. And until you get that little boost, the only thing you can do is keep trying, keep doing the right thing.
Tom?
It's quite a Premier League culture, isn't it? The manager sort of fronting up all the time. I think in foreign leagues, you do get the directors and the president speaking more often in the media. I don't know. Something you thought about?
No, I think I actually thought about it the other day, that it's definitely a thing here in England or Premier League, as you say. It's more the manager or the head coach who face the media all the time. So I think it must be tricky if you don't feel the alignment or trust behind you. But I feel that, so no problem.
Can you talk a bit about your relationship with Vinay? Because obviously it seems like you're very close. How has that relationship grown, and how does he see the season so far? Because you talked the other day about how there have been some other factors that the leadership understand. Can you just elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah, Vinay, for me, is one of the best communicators I ever met. As a whatever, CEO, leader, whatever, he's absolutely excellent in that. I think I'm okay, but he's way superior, which I think is crucial internally for communication, externally for communication. And he's calm, and he takes sensible decisions. Two rare abilities in football, but also two absolutely crucial abilities if you want to have success long term. So for me, Vinay is crucial for Tottenham to have success in many ways. And then of course we've known each other for 6 months, so we are getting closer and closer, and know each other better and better. I would say I'm okay calm, but also a tiny bit more emotional at times. So that we learn about each other as well. So but no, Vinay is good, and I think is also besides being smart and take good sensible decisions, he also got huge experience, 10 years at Arsenal, with how they built it and experienced how they did it.
I was going to say, do you think that history at Arsenal with what happened with Arteta, where a very bumpy start, not just a start, a couple of years where it didn't really go right, and sticking through that, I think that has informed his thinking around what's happening here at the moment?
Yeah, definitely. No doubt about that. Plus, he knows what good looks like. So, and also know how, unfortunately, it can take time to get up to where good should look like. So I think that's definitely beneficial, and also understand the journey we're on.
Which is quite rare, because a lot of chief executives, they sort of, quite quick to fire. I guess his experience with Arteta at Arsenal shows that it's worth sticking through that early period.
Yeah, definitely. But also I think it's the competitiveness of the Premier League. We all, it's fantastic. So let's say there is 8 clubs that is really fighting and dreaming of coming into the top 4, which is the Champions League spot. That means there's 4 that's going to be hugely disappointed. If you then look at the wages structure, or that index, how that is, then you can see, and then you can look where have you been, and on what trajectory are you on to go there. So all that taking into consideration, plus you then need to keep the noise out as well. So there's a lot of things to be aware of.